Hello, I've recently done a teardown of the Roland JP-08 in the previous video to this one. And I found out now that whether you buy the JP-08, the JU-06 or the JX-03, they've all got JP-08 silk screened onto the main board that's inside there. That's the main board that has the memory and the processor, the ECS2 processor and everything. It's exactly the same board. The only difference is it's a different program that's running it. And of course, the top plate with all the buttons on, that's different as well. But other than that, it's actually the same unit in all three. Now, I've been kind of wondering, the Jupiter 8 had 8 voices, so why doesn't this have 8 voices? And I'm also curious, inside the System-1m, I haven't opened this yet, I'm about to open this. This, I assume, if it's the same as the keyboard version, the System-1m, that this is going to have 2 ECS2 chips in there, which is the FPGA chip, the processor, the brains, if you like. And somebody has quite rightly pointed out to me that the reason this hasn't got 8 voices, even though it's got twice the computing power, is because it's 96K sample rate. And this is 48K sample rate. So is Roland one day going to drop down the sample rate of this down to 48K and use the 2 ECS2 chips to make 8 voices instead of 4 voices? Not sure. Anyway, I'll stop babbling on a moment and I'll get down to taking this System-1m apart. I'd also like to add there is no reason, I don't think, why there won't be a plug out for the System-1 and the System-1m that will emulate all the sounds on the JP-08, the JU-06 and the JX-03. So I'd best get this apart and we'll just have a look inside it, shall we? So I'm not going to do a complete sort of strip down of this. I just want to open it up and have a look how many of these processors are in there and, you know, possibly how much memory is in here, because this will take the plug out synthesizers as well. So it needs a little bit extra memory to hold that. So, yeah, let's just open it up and get in, shall we? I'm not going to undo these 2 screws here because I've got a feeling that's just holding the MIDI in and out plate or socket onto the back there. And they're different sort of screws. And they wouldn't have a screw to the board right next to another one to hold the thing together. So I'm not going to undo those. And it won't come apart. Now there's some screws on the end. These are for putting on the tabs if you want to use it in a 19-inch rack system. So I'm guessing that will have some sort of steel plate on the inside there for rigidity. So I'll undo those as well. I guess that's holding it together. Okay, let's see. Yes, the back is loose. And off she comes. That way round. Right. Okay, I can see immediately there's 2 ESC2 chips in there and twice the amount of memory. I'll just zoom in here so we can have a quick look down there. So as you can see here, there's the 2 memory chips. Now they're ISSI chips and they're 256 megs each. And here are the 2 ESC2 chips. Now there's only one of these in the boutique and one of those in the boutique. So you would assume if they'd have put 2 of these in the boutique, you could have made 8 voices instead of 4 voices, especially for the JP-08, which based on the Jupiter 8 had 8 voices. So yeah, if they cut down the sampling rate from 96 to 48, I expect, I don't see why not, you could turn this into an 8-voice synthesizer rather than a 4-voice. But yeah, it's just a quick little look there, because I was sort of scratching my head last night wondering about how this system sort of works. So all this board here is your synthesizer, the entire synthesizer, all on the one board again, and everything runs off through ribbon cables off to the control panel with all your switches on. But what the System-1m has in addition is it has this extra board that runs along the back here, and this goes off to all the jacks for the CV and gate, etc. And this basically, in a way, is it's like the SPX1 to, you know, MIDI to CV, gate, etc. That's sort of doing the same job. And you don't get any of this on the System-1, the one with the actual keyboard with it. But yeah, for Eurorack design, etc., this is the extra board that they needed to add to this to make it work with all the Eurorack. This here is your main audio output, left and right audio out, and there's your MIDI. You've got MIDI in and out on the back there, but you've also got an extension with a MIDI in and out again, which runs off the back of the faceplate, which I guess if you put this on a tabletop you would use these ones, and if you put it in a Eurorack you would use these ones. I'm not going to completely strip this apart, there's no point really. This board is just for all your switch gear, and you know, all your potentiometers and push buttons and LEDs. And by the time I've taken all that apart, there's really nothing to see under there apart from sliders and switches and a few analog to digital converters for the pots, so that the synthesizer can tell where the pot has moved to. But yeah, I just wanted to have a look in there and see what was inside one of these devices. So I'm going to put it back together again now. I'm sorry this is a short video, it was just got me thinking about the boutiques and what Roland are actually coming out with now. With this ESC2 chip, which seems to be in all these new Roland products, I don't know where their limitations are in using this to make a heck of a lot of new gear for the next 10 years maybe. They'll just keep on sticking in another ESC2 chip, reprogramming it, and you know, just keep on bringing out more and more gear. I mean, fantastic little device really. It's an FPGA chip, which is a field programmable gate array, and that, as I've said in the other videos, is how they managed to do all the analog circuit behavior. It's not analog, but it's sort of a behavior similar to analog circuits, and it's very, very clever. And that's a little jewel for Roland really, because they're going to make lots of products with this. So that was just a quick look in the System-1m. I've had there's a bit more detail on one of my previous videos of the System-1, which is this with the keyboard attached basically. The difference being, obviously this can go straight into your Eurorack, and it has envelopes, LFO, gate, CV, etc. all on the top there. Basically it's like the SPX1 built in to this device. But anyway, it was interesting for me to look in there and see that this has got twice the processing power of this with the 2 FPGA chips, whereas this has only got the 1, and also it's got double the memory. Obviously it needs more memory because of the plug-out synthesizers that you load into this. So interestingly, maybe in 2016 sometime, Roland could possibly bring out the plug outs for the JP08, the JU06 and the JX03s to work on these System-1s and System-1Ms. Now, if they also bring it down from 96K to 48K, they may be able to get 8 voices out of this instead of 4. This is limited to 4 voices, whereas we all know a Jupiter 8 had 8 voices. But yeah, interesting to see what's going to come along in 2016. So thank you very much for watching, and if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up because it helps with the searches, and keep watching. All the best.